must find your own voice, lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Amanda Marie. How are you, Amanda?
Really good. It's the last week of school, so the kids are excited.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So when do you guys go back to school?
The end of August.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So guys, today the topic is why smart women end up heartbroken. Smart women are not broken because they are weak. Many are heartbroken because they love deeply, think hopefully, give generously, and sometimes ignore the signs their spirit notice first. A smart woman can build a career, raise family, lead people, solve problems, carry everyone else's emotion, yet still find herself confused in love. Why? Because intelligence does not automatically protect the heart. Wisdom in love must be learned, practiced, and protected. Sometimes a smart woman end up heartbroken because she sees potential instead of reality. She falls in love with someone could become, not who they are consistently showing themselves to be. She believes love can heal everything, but love without respect, honest, maturity, and commitment becomes painful. What do you think, Amanda, about this topic?
Well, at first I was like, "Oh, this is a hard topic." I don't know if I'm the best person for this, but I definitely can speak in some respects to this because when I got divorced, I one of the things that I really struggled with, I was like, "I'm smart, I'm pretty, like how did I end up in this giant disaster that I ended up in?" And
Giant disaster.
and how did I not like see the signs? And then I started learning about narcissistic personality disorder and like all of the things, and I could check off literally every single box once I started learning about that, and that was like 13 years ago. And now knowing about that is more prominent, but there's like a bell curve of narcissism, right? And if you have like narcissistic personality disorder, that's like an extreme version where you have like almost every single one of those characteristics. And so learning about that definitely helped me understand what I had been through, why I can't like diagnose someone, but I definitely can check those boxes of my experience. And so I think one of the things was like grand gestures right at the start, right? All of those things at the beginning are um and then they sometimes like will mimic what it is that you want, you're right, you see the good in people that maybe other people don't see, or you see potential in people. And um being smart doesn't necessarily always mean that you like follow your intuition. And so one of the things that I've learned over the years is to like really like sit with myself and like meditate on different things, and to also just like check to have like self check-ins of like, am I regulated? Do I know what I do? I know what's going on in this situation? Is this a healthy situation for me? um, and then also like check in is, are you using your intellect to like decide, make decisions, or are you using your like gut, or are you using a combination? And I think we have to like really sit with ourselves and use all of our senses to determine if the situation that we're in this moment is like a good one or a bad one. What do you think, Nomsa?
I like it. Am I muted? Did I mute? Oh yeah, I muted myself. I like it when you say when you divorce your husband, you were like, how didn't I see these signs of narcissist from the beginning? How did I end up with these giant problems? But I'm afraid some people are really, really good, Amanda, for hiding the red flags. They know who they are, and they will do anything to make sure that they swallow you in without you noticing anything. It's when they become settled and they're like, okay, married her, now I can do what I want. So that personality ends up, it begins to come out. But it was never your fault that you did not see the signs. People are really, really good for hiding those signs, whether intelligent or not intelligent in that problem. I can put my hands up and say, it was never your fault. And by you making me laugh with your giant problem. I think they confuse intelligent with emotional wisdom. A woman can be highly intelligent and still struggle in love. Academic success, business success, or life experience does not always seem emotionally safe. Love requires discernment, not just intelligent. Emotional wisdom asks, it is a person consistent. Do they respect me? Do their action match their words? But sometimes because you are intelligent, you can see people's behavior straight away. You begin to ask questions. An intelligent woman will begin to ask questions when it comes to that person, how they are behaving. And that person will explain their upbringing, their this. But because you are intelligent, you end up saying, if I leave this person, that means I'm being horrible. You end up making an excuse for the person, which means you are accepting that behavior to say this behavior is okay, but it is not okay. And sometimes, like Christians, they go to pastors, and most pastors, they'll tell you that God does not want you to leave your marriage or your husband. But there is no way in the Bible where it says God wants you to tolerate bullying or tolerate narcissism. There is no one. Even God Himself, because the more you are unhappy, the more your soul gets in prison. So God wouldn't want your soul to be in prison, but some people, because of, like you said, Amanda, is because of that. When you are loving and caring somebody, you and you are intelligent, you can see that this behavior is come from this. You end up noticing you end up not like you end up feeling sorry for that person not dealing with the actual problems. But someone who is not intelligent, they'll be like, I ain't not taking that nonsense out. They've got no time to think about anything. They've got no time for nonsense, because to them, they're not chasing that person because they've seen the problems, but they're chasing them through selfishness, that I need somebody, I need to be looked after. What do you think? Do you have anything you want to add, Amanda?
Yeah, one of the things, like you said, from like my experience was in the beginning, or in the end, I was like, how did I end up in this mess? And like I said, I'm smart and I'm pretty, and how did I not see the signs? And I had one girlfriend who like really made me feel a lot better about that. And she was like, he tricked everyone, Amanda, not just you. Because at one point in time, if I had a flat tire or something, he would have been the first person that I called. And over time, so he's like, he tricked like me and like all of these other people too. It wasn't just you. You're not the one that didn't see all of the signs. It was also all of us. And so that made me feel a lot better too, because like you said, people also put their best foot forward at the beginning and then things fall off, or in my case, it was like there was a lot of mirroring, there was a lot of love bombing, there was a lot of just pretending that they were somebody that they're not. And then once you're like actually married and stuck, then it was like the light switch snapped, and they became a completely different person. And so I think that was an experience to like, it was almost like, who are you? And I don't know if other people have had that experience before, where you're just like, all of a sudden you realize you're in this thing, and the person that you thought that someone was is a completely different person than they actually are, and that's a scary place to be in. And I've like watched now a few other people go through something very similar, and it's really hard. It's hard for the person to get over and learn and then trust again. That piece, like once you've been through it, it's like how do you trust again? How do you explain to someone what it is that you've been through and them not run in the opposite direction right away, right? And so even like learning, I think for learning forgiveness is really important because we're not learning about even necessarily forgiving that other person, but learning how to forgive yourself, and then like sending love and healing to all parts of the situation. And so that might even be sending like, send you love but leave me alone. Right. And so I think that's something too that we need to think about. And I think all women can, or well, all people in general can end up heartbroken. It's not necessarily just women. There's men who end up heartbroken. I've watched some of my male friends end up really heartbroken over relationships and different situations. And so our heartbreak really is so personal, right? We feel sometimes like nobody else has been through it, or we like look back over every single thing that we've been through and every single like red flag in that relationship, and ask ourselves, why didn't I stop it sooner? But at the same, like it's that giving people the benefit of the doubt, or trusting, or like you said at the beginning, being too caring and compassionate. And so I think one thing that if you are a smart woman or if you are like anybody really, is just to like know what your boundaries are and know what your non-negotiables are, and be very firm on those. And so when you do begin to heal, like what is it that your boundaries are going to be, and how are you going to show up, and how are you going to model those boundaries, so that you don't end up in this just repeating the same pattern with the same like person or type of person over and over and over again. And so one thing that I did learn from that experience was that people like my ex-husband showed up in my life again, but I saw the signs really early, and I was able to walk away really fast because I was like, oh no, no, I am not putting up with anything like this again. Like, and so it was like a big, almost like growth and aha for me, because I was like, those are this very similar signs that I'd seen very early on in that other relationship, and I know what my boundaries are, and I know what's healthy now. And so I can walk away just that much sooner than I would have if I hadn't experienced what I did in the marriage. And so I think that's something that if you do end up heartbroken, is how are you going to heal, and how are you going to move forward, so that when that same type of person shows up again, you can stop it sooner. Right? Because we want to be able to not repeat those same patterns. So is it that you're going to heal, so that you become the best version of yourself, so that you're then attracting someone who's going to also bring out the best version of yourself and not drag you down, because you want to be vibrating the best version of yourself, so that you can then attract that into your life too, right? And so your vibe, like they say, your vibe attracts your tribe, and your vibe also attracts like the type of partner that you bring into your life. And so whatever it is that you're doing, is how are you going to shift that energy and shift how you're showing up, so that you're not attracting that again, is what my suggestion would be.
I like that how you're showing up. I think, and also you said the scary place is when you are with someone and they end up not being what you thought they were. You look at every red flags and you're like, why did I end up with this person? Um, I think sometimes the smart women they fall in love with potential. They can see that this person is wrong for them. Many smart women see greatness in others because when you're smart, you want someone to be great. and you notice their talent as well very, very easy. You are like, you can fall in love with what could be. You can fall in love with what could be pain. You can fall in love with pain, ambitions, or possibility. The danger is loving a person is potential more than their present behavior, and the potential is not commitment. Potential is not a character. A relationship must be built with someone, built on who someone is now, not only who they might become one day. And sometimes some people, they are very, very easy to actually manipulate. And so it's really, really important to not to over explain the bad behavior. To say, I used to feel sorry for people, but now I see a bad behavior as it is. When someone is bad or they are very disrespectful, I see it as it is, that this person is very disrespectful, but before I'll make too many excuses for that person. And smart women are often good at understanding people. They may say he had a difficult childhood, or he is stressed, or he doesn't know how to express love or understanding someone is pain, compassionate. But it should not become an excuse for disrespecting someone. You can understand someone and still decide their behavior is not for you. So it's really, really important. For me, I had to change my attitude. I had to change how I see things. I had to, like, when someone, what I see is what I see. I don't make any excuse for it. And I think too many people should learn to do that. Because when you are smart, even in the office, is like what you see is like you make an excuse for someone and be like, because you want what's best for them. So I think that's what people make a mistake. But when it comes to bad behavior, relationship wise, when you see any audience that is watching, I'm not saying go around and judging anyone when you're dating them, but when you see a bad behavior, because some Christian, they hide behind the scriptures. They will start the scriptures when you are actually want to talk to them with their bad behavior. They have scriptures to back up their behavior, hide behind the Bible. So you have to be aware. Me, I tell my pastor that a bad behavior when it comes to relationship is bad. She's like, she looks at me, she goes, and I'm like, a bad behavior is bad. Don't make an excuse for it to say God wants this, God wants this. God wants us to forgive, but he does not want us to get depressed with the bad behavior. What are your thoughts, Amanda?
Well, I think like one of the things around forgiveness is learning, like I said already, was learning to forgive yourself. But also, I think part of like our soul's journey is like experiencing some of these really hard things and then growing and becoming a better version of ourselves. So, what is it that you've had to overcome? And everybody has had to overcome something difficult in their life, whether it's like losing a family member, a sickness, a really terrible relationship, like a pet dying, like anything, a friend dying, like everyone's had stuff, addictions in their families, different things that show up, and it's how you learn to navigate it, and then how are you going to shift those patterns so that you're not repeating those same patterns for the next generation, right? Because we want to be like pattern breakers so that our souls can become the best version of themselves. And so I think like I try always to be like really grateful for those experiences so that I know that I can then help other people in ways that I never would have been able to help them if I hadn't experienced what I experienced. And so even in teaching, because I've been through a divorce, any student or parents that are right in the middle of that high conflict, right when I happen to be teaching their child, I have skills that another teacher wouldn't have, right? Because I've already lived through that. My daughter has lived through that. My daughter's lived through it since she was two, where you have to go between homes and stuff. And now she doesn't. She lives with me full time. But um, just knowing how difficult that can be, you can empathize with the parents, but also they recognize that you have, and with the kids too, but they recognize that you have that experience that maybe another person doesn't have, that can show up differently when you experience something truly and completely understand it. Because we can always have empathy for what somebody else is going through, but unless you actually walked that path, you don't know exactly how difficult it is, because it is a really difficult path. Um, but it sometimes is a really good path. And I think one thing that people don't do is they stay in really unhealthy relationships for a really long time, and they choose just to stay because they're afraid to be alone. And I wish that more people would choose learning how to heal themselves and get out of unhealthy relationships and learn how to feel safe, um, and really bring their power back to themselves alone, and then be willing to like attract that really strong, wonderful person into their lives. Because I think there's a lot of value in walking away from unhealthy relationships. And so many people, like you said, it doesn't even necessarily have to be smart women or smart men, or just, there's so many people. If you're listening right now, like, are you in a healthy relationship? How do you even know if you're in an unhealthy relationship? What does that look like? Because I didn't even realize how unhealthy my relationship was until I started going to counseling, until I started going and explaining what was going on in my life, because I just thought that was normal, and it really wasn't. And so learning how, what a healthy relationship is, and starting to read about that, and starting to really truly understand the growth that I needed to do, was really really important. And I know, even when I look at some of my friendships and what some of my friendships have gone through, or some of my friends have gone through, which is, some of them have had similar experiences, male or female, and they question themselves, right? They have a really hard time forgiving themselves for what they've been through, because they're like, oh, I should have seen it, I should have listened to my brother, I should have listened to, I should have like ended it here because of this and this. And I think sometimes, with just, when we're ready, we'll make that decision and that move. But one of the things that is hard for people who have a lot of empathy is that always seeing the good in other people, right? And giving them too many chances when you should have just walked away. And so I always think that, whether it whatever it is that you're going through, it's really about who you are and how you show up, and what it is that you want to attract, and how you're going to bring more of that into your life, bring more joy, right? When you have joy in your life, you're going to bring in more joy, and then that's going to attract people who are also bringing in joy to your life.
I love that, Amanda, when you say, are you in a healthy relationship? And how do you know if you are in a healthy relationship? And also, you mentioned something very, very important, that our souls as journey is for us to experience these things. Be grateful to those experiences. We can only sympathize of what someone else is going through, but unless you walk through into that path, you wouldn't be able to know what that person is going through. I think you are right, because there are some people who might be in an unhealthy relationship, and they are going along in that relationship thinking things will get better, or thinking that I've been with this person for 30 years, for 20 years, for 16 years or 10 years, I can't end this relationship. But then they choose to go to the doctors and be on an anxiety tablet. That's what people do. And unless you actually have that awareness, or you go to the events, and listen to the speakers, or you go for counseling, because I'm sure you went for counseling thinking I'm going for something else, or thinking maybe it was pressure at home, but then you end up being aware, actually I'm in the wrong relationship, because we tolerate so much. And I think what is important for us is, I always say to people as well, that as long as, I always say, I cannot say to someone, I know what you are going through, because I'll be lying to someone if I say I know what you're going through. Like your statement, when someone goes through pain, that pain is theirs to carry. You can only listen. But unless you have walked through that pain, that's when you will understand that this is how a narcissist in a relationship looks like, because they are good at hiding it as well. And I think also every woman should not ignore their intuition. Before heartbreak, there's often a quiet warning. Something feels off. You shouldn't ignore that. The energy changes, the words do not match the actions. Many women silence their inner voice because they want the relationship to work. But the intuition is often protection. When your peace keeps disappearing, pay attention. They give too many chances. Forgiveness is beautiful, guys, but repeated chances without changes behavior becomes self-abandonment. A person who truly value you does not need endless opportunity to hate you before they learn to respect you. Love should include mess, and it must also include a standard. Like Amanda, you mentioned boundaries. Boundaries are really important. For me, I always say to people, God created his 10 commandments. He's very clear. He has clarity, very clear. He doesn't negotiate. He says, if you want to enter my kingdom, these are my 10 commandments that I expect your character to be. He knows there's other gods out there, millions and millions of them, and he doesn't negotiate. So as a human being, why shouldn't you have boundaries? Like when I enter Amanda's life, Amanda, by greeting me, by talking to me, she's communicating norms. So this is how Amanda's world is like. Her good behavior, her honoring, her caring behavior, being respectful. So for her, when she's like that, she's telling me that, Nomsa, this is the behavior that I will always tolerate. But anything else that is outside this, I will not tolerate. And that should be like that in relationship. When you meet someone, let the person know your world, but at the same time let them know how you want to be treated. Communicate your needs, and your needs have to be clear, not to say, oh, if I do this, they're gonna leave me. It means they were never there. Or even if it's the woman, it means she was never there in the first place. So you shouldn't fear of someone leaving you. Like Amanda, this is Ngozi Talk Shows. If she wants to bring ideas, she shouldn't say, oh, Nomsa is not gonna like it. This is where she is. So it means if I want her to feel welcome, to feel safe, she is allowed to bring good ideas, and that ideas be implemented as a family. So if I dismiss her, it means I don't honor her or respect her, and she shouldn't tolerate that nonsense. That's how I see life anyway. I used to tolerate everything and make excuses, 2,000 excuses for people, but now I don't. I just sit there, observe.
Really, like that observing, I think, is really important because we're so busy in our lives and we often forget to just like take a step back and just like observe what it is that's going on, and we get all caught up in all of the other things, and in that like future, looking to the future and what could be, instead of like truly sitting in this moment and analyzing what is true right now. Right, and what is true for the past. And one of the things that I think about always is like, do you like coming home to that person, right? Do you feel like safe and loved and secure and happy? And where is like your happy place? Or do you like going home? And if you don't like going home, how is it that you're going to change that? Because when I was married, the house didn't feel safe, right? It just wanted to be anywhere except that house, because you never knew who was going to show up. You never knew, like, if you were walking on, like, if you feel like you're walking on eggshells, that's probably a pretty good indication that you're not in a healthy relationship at all. And then how are you going to navigate that? And one of the things, too, that determines like a healthy relationship is not no conflict. It's how you navigate conflict, because conflict's important. Every single relationship or situation is going to eventually have some sort of conflict, and you just, if you just sweep it all under the rug and pretend that that conflict doesn't exist, then it's just going to end up as in a giant pile and eventually explode. And so, Nomza, you were saying that you used to just accept everything. So you're just like sweeping everything under the rug and like being like, it's okay, it's okay. But that's just something little. That's just something little. And it's all of those little things. It's not just one event that causes everything to explode. It's all of the little things that just add up over time that never get dealt with or never get discussed and never get navigated through, because you just push them to the side and are like, oh, it's just a little thing, I'll just ignore it. Oh, it's just a little thing, until all of those little things come crashing down on you. And then you're like, oh, that I ended up in this big mess of all of these things that just piled up over the years or over time that never actually got dealt with. And so all of the books that I've read on healthy relationships is really about how do you navigate conflict? How do you show up, and are you able to actually bring up how you're feeling about a certain situation, bring up how you didn't like something. How do they respond? Do they actually listen and change the behavior, or do they tell you whatever, you're just being sensitive? Those things are indicators of if you're in a healthy relationship or not. And then also, how do you begin to feel safe to bring those questions up, right? And how do you begin to navigate things when you're so used to pushing them to the side and under the rug? And so, Nomza, what strategies do you use now where you look at the situation, you're like, I'm actually going to deal with it, I'm not just going to push it to the side?
I actually, when I see something, I have to deal with it straight away. I don't push it on the side. But before, because when you fear confrontation, you don't want a confrontation with someone, you just ignore it and hoping that the person will change. Even when you don't talk to them, you don't raise the awareness of their behavior because they don't know that's how they behave. So now my actually attitude is changed. I have to confront the situation straight away. If that person is mistreating or disrespectful, I have to talk to that person that you like, making sure that I do not blame them or make them feel wrong, but raising the awareness because that person might not know what they have done. But some people they know, and if that person his reaction is saying you are oversensitive, that means they are not taking responsibilities. So don't think that they will change when someone tells you, oh, why are you taking this serious? Why are you being so sensitive? If someone is truly cares about you, they will say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's what I've done, I'm sorry, how can I make things better to make sure that you feel safe? Because what you need when you come home, you need to feel safe. Home is a place where when you have children, you come home, you play with the kids, you play with your husband, you play with your wife. And if that place is no longer a safe place anymore, some men go to the pub because their home is not safe anymore. When the minute they open the door, a woman has got some talking problems. They start talking, yapping, or a man, the minute he opens the door because he's not dealing with the stress at work, now he wants to take his stress on you. But hey, I'm not here for you as a statue for you to go to work and bring your stress to me. You can talk to me and say, honey, I had a bad day. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to put everything down and listen to your story. But if you're gonna tell me off and then you are not actually telling me what is going on, that's a bad behavior. NOMSA does not tolerate that anymore. But before, I used to make an excuse, 20,000 excuse. This person is tired. This person is this person is that. But now I don't. I don't, even at work, I do not take any if you didn't have a good sleep, why are you at work to take your stress on NOMSA? If you did not have a good sleep, you do not lie to NOMSA and say, I'm not well. You say, NOMSA, you know what? I did not have a good sleep. And I just feel that I need to rest today. And it's NOMSA will say, if NOMSA is a good person, as long we are not taking each other for granted, we are being honest, I'll say, have a rest and
Yeah.
come back tomorrow.
I
But
think
some,
that's what I
yeah,
think
you
that's
what
really
were you saying?
important even to model like for children because I know for my students when I don't have a very good sleep, I'll go into the class and I'll say, I'm not feeling well today. So you guys are going to have to behave. Otherwise, you're going to have a really grumpy teacher. And I
You're
do.
gonna have a grumpy teacher.
And I'm like, and I threaten them. I'm like, if you're not good and I get sicker because I'm not feeling well, you're gonna have a sub tomorrow, so you better behave. Because they don't like my. I had to actually have a sub on Monday, just for the afternoon because I ended up having to go to a medical appointment. And I came back on Tuesday morning and they were like, don't ever get that sub again. She was the worst. And they just complain. And I was like, well, I guess you better be good so that you don't end up with the sub again. But it's funny because when you do tell, like, and that's something to model to children too, and to other people is like, I know I'm not showing up as my best today because I'm really not feeling very well, right? Please have some empathy for me because I'm not showing up as my best, and I already am aware of that because I didn't sleep well, or I have a cold, or I'm struggling with this, or my cat died, right? Like those are things that cause people to really struggle throughout the day. And unless you say, I'm struggling and this is why, you don't give people the opportunity to step up and show that they have empathy for you and can then navigate that like part of your day where you're not feeling your best, right? And so I think, Nomza, what you were saying around like I'm struggling today is so important because then we can like take a step back and be like, okay, they're showing up as this because they're not feeling well today, but when they are feeling well, we can go and do all of these things, right? And just navigate that because we have to be able to show up and be authentic and not just power through when we're truly struggling with something else.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think Amanda, when you being honest with like when you're being honest with the student,
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the student you just get a grumpy teacher coming out and they're like, whoa, 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 what happened here? But if
Yeah.
they are aware that, you know what, our teacher did not have a good night's sleep, it's same
Yeah.
with the person you are dating. If they say, listen, things are not good at work, so please, you're gonna have to bear with me. Then it means, do you want to talk about it? And then
Mm-hmm.
you can talk about it to make things better. Sometimes they might not want to talk, and just say, anytime you need to talk, know that I'm available to listen. And you can't force them to talk to you if they don't want to talk to you. But they don't. Me, I always say, no matter what you're going through, you have no authority to make someone's life a living hell. You can talk about it and that person can support you, but do not think that you have authority to make their lives a living hell. But I used to think it's okay for somebody, if they are not okay, they can behave the way they want. But now I always make sure that even with my children, I tell them, if you want something, come and talk to me. And I say, even when you make a mistake, don't feel that my mom is gonna go mad. If I go mad, get upset, is when you don't tell me what you've done. But
Mm-hmm.
if you say, even if you break the cup, whatever you do, is, I always say, is more important than a human being. So I always say, whatever mistakes you do, never ever stay there, torture you during yourself, express what you're feeling. And my daughter, she's 10, sometimes she goes, mommy, I feel insecure. I'm like, why? She goes, my legs are hairy.
Mm-hmm.
She's got hairy legs, she's got hairy body because her dad is
Mm-hmm.
really got a hair, too much hair. So she
Yeah.
goes, mommy, I'm feeling insecure. Can you teach me how to shave my legs? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Because I talk to them and say, whatever, when you're feeling like you don't feeling, don't give me stress. Talk
Yeah.
about it.
Well, and what a gift you've given them to be able to have the ability to express that and the terminology to be like, I'm feeling this. One of my very first book ever that I wrote was called It's Okay to Feel. And it was like, it's okay to feel jealous. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel joy. It's okay to feel happiness. It's okay to feel love. And like explains like what is it that you feel in your body and have discussions around those emotions because we're human and sometimes we have multiple emotions at the same time, right? We can be scared and like overjoyed at the exact same time, right, based on the situation. And having giving kids that opportunity to navigate that is really important. But I know we need to finish up about the topic, and so I think whatever it is that you've gone through when in relationships, and if you are heartbroken, is really try to look at yourself and what it is that you can do to shift things, and then find ways to forgive yourself and navigate that forgiveness. And then how are you going to show up as the best version of yourself moving forward?
Yes, for me, what I live with you guys is know that your heart is not something to gamble with. It is a secret. Love deeply, but love wisely. Give generously, but do not abandon yourself. Believe in people, but watch their patterns. Forgive, but do not return to what keeps breaking you. The right love will not confuse you, will not shrink you, will not drain you. It will honor you, protect you, grow with you, and bring peace to your life. You are not too much. You were simply giving your love to someone who did not know how to value it. So that's what I live with you guys. And if you're watching us from YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel. On Facebook, we have two groups: Unique Billionaire Mindset and Gossip Talk Shows. Please do join those groups and be part of the family. May God bless you. Amanda will see you guys next week. I will see you guys tomorrow. And also go to the website, sign up or if you are looking for love, or if you need coaching, please do sign up. And yeah, God bless you.
That was good. Oh.
Oh, sorry, we're still live. My mouse is refusing to let me, it's pressing the quiz. It's refusing to let me, okay. Now it's gonna allow me.